Nevertheless there are good things found in thee, in that thou hast taken away the groves out of the land, and hast prepared thine heart to seek God. And Jehoshaphat dwelt at Jerusalem, and he went out again through the people from Beersheba to Mount Ephraim, and brought them back unto the Lord God of their fathers. And he set judges in the land throughout all the fenced cities of Judah, city by city, and said to the judges, Take heed what ye do, for ye judge not for man, but for the Lord, who is with you in the judgment. Wherefore, now let the fear of the Lord be upon you. Take heed and do it. For there is no iniquity with the Lord our God, nor respect of persons, nor taking of gifts. Moreover, in Jerusalem did Jehoshaphat set of the Levites, and of the priests, and of the chief of the fathers of Israel, for the judgment of the Lord and for controversies when they returned to Jerusalem. And he charged them, saying, Thus shall ye do in the fear of the Lord, faithfully, and with a perfect heart.
Shalom. All praises, glory, all honor, all fear. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Rakakadash. And shalom and the honors to those in the new covenant and in the spirit of the Lord, which is the spirit of mercy, faith, and the spirit of judgment. And I want to talk about a judgment because that's the time we are currently in. You know, it's high time to wake out of sleep. It's to realize and awaken to the light and awaken to Yahushua. And what Yahushua is all about. Yahushua, he came to bring division, not peace, not keep 50 camps of 50 together. He came to divide the goats from the sheep. The Lord said he's going to take one of a city and two of a family and bring them to Zion. The Lord said, which his soul looks for one man out of 1,000. So this is the spirit of judgment. One man shall chase 1,000. And that's what we're doing. We're putting the thousands, the multitudes to flight. They're not able to stand in our presence. They're not able to withstand the winds and the doctrines and the change of seasons and of times. And like you see going on there in Colorado, them fires spreading and 30,000 and rising, having to evacuate and flee their homes, whatever. The Lord's fanning the fire. He's not stopping the fire. You know, he's not like, oh, pray for these people and, you know, throw some water on it. No, the Lord, he's bringing that fire. The Lord's a consuming fire. And the Lord said that the men of the Lord, they're going to be consuming the wicked. So our mouth, what things we're saying and bringing out, we're consuming the wicked. We're that fan to the fire. When you give it oxygen, when you put more smoke and oxygen to the fire, it causes more fire, causes more heat, and that's what we're doing. But a lot of guys, what they're doing with the fire of the Lord, our power is consuming fire, they're actually trying to subdue it. They're trying to enclose it. They're trying to trap it up. You know, they're trying to take away the oxygen where they're trying to put stuff over it. That's the thing. They're trying to put stuff over it. You see? So I'm going to start with 1 Peter 4:17 because you have elders and certain guys, they'll bring out these scriptures, but they're totally breaking it down wrong because they're not in the spirit of judgment. They're not in the spirit of the Lord. They're in the flesh and they're in camps and you know, they say, oh, Cornelius is an Israelite, and they just make shit up along the way. And it's not even in the spirit. It's just in the flesh. It's all about the flesh. They talk about Fopi. I mean, well, they talk about Fopi, but they also talk about Rap the News now. That's another hot topic guys talk about. They don't fucking matter, all right? They don't even believe in the New Covenant. They don't believe in the New Testament. They don't believe in Yahushua. So that doesn't matter. What matters is Yahushua, and what matters is exposing you workers of darkness that are hiding yourselves and acting like, oh, we have the truth and yeah, you know, God's going to judge our people. These judgment's going to start. But really what they're doing is they're prophesying their own judgment. They're talking about themselves. When the ungodly curses Satan, he curses himself. And that's what's happening, man, on a large scale. Guys don't even see it. Guys are absolutely deceived. 1 Peter 4:17. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And just like in the Most High's house, in There's not just vessels to honor, there's also vessels to dishonor. And all you guys that are getting double honored right now, you got the honor now, is not on the right, it's not in the right time. You shouldn't be getting honored in this world. The Lord said a prophet is without honor in his own country, in his own house, in his own kindred. So in a great man's house, is not just vessels to dishonor, but to honor. So the ones that's going to be brought to honor by the Lord are the ones that are being humiliated, cast out of camps, being evil spoken of. And this is a huge part of the gospel guys want to act like it's not a big deal or is insignificant. But what they want to act like it's a big deal is like, oh, you got to pay tithes. Because, guys, they love money. And that root of evil, that's what they're rooted in. They're not rooted in Yahushai. They're being uprooted because they have no fruits of the spirit. But they have fruits of the carnal thing. They're getting prostitutes. They're getting tithes and getting rich off this. You see? So they're basically, they're nigh unto cursing, these guys. It says, and if it first begin at us, now here's the point. What shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of God? Right, they obey not the gospel of God. What is the gospel? Yahushai. Teaching Yahushai, speaking about Yahushai. Guys just use a name. They say Yahushai, and they don't mean it though, man. You can tell when someone means it and when someone doesn't. And a lot of these elders, they don't mean shit. They basically want the dung of this world rather than really having Yahushai in the spirit. That's why they don't acknowledge us. They hide their face from us, just like they hid their face from Yahushai when he was here. But now that, see, and it's heavy because what Yahushai did, his name now has power and glory and strength and everlasting riches. But they use that for their own gain, you see? And they make merchandise of you, all right? Psalm 64 and verse 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. You see, so their own tongue, got this elder saying, oh yeah, judgment. Judgment's gonna be getting with you wicked Israelites. And it's just like, it's just not in the right spirit, you know? Just absolute hypocrites. Guys are just acting, man. It's just put on the front. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, right? Because they're gonna get judged. They're going to be condemned because they love darkness rather than light. What's the darkness? Fopi, Rap the News, Cardi B, all this, that's all darkness. Let's go on. The mark of the beast is darkness. That's RFID chip. That's wickedness. That's darkness. What's light is Yahushai, the parables, the parables, the understanding, and bring out the understanding of the wise virgins, the foolish virgins, the wheats and tares, the goats and sheep. You know what I'm saying? And making that differentiation, because that differentiation, that division is judgment. Say to the righteous, it shall be well with him, but unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him. That's what it is. But guys ain't doing that. They're just what? They're teaching and they're preaching about their own camp. They're not preaching Yahushai. Says, all that see them shall flee away. So if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you're going to get the hell away from these guys, man. Because just like in number 16, what happened to Korah, Dathan, Abiram, they got swallowed up because they came up against the righteous. The Lord's wrath fell upon them. The earth opened up, and that's what's happening now as well. The Lord's about to open up on these guys, and everything that they love and that is in their vicinity and around them. In praising them. They love the praise of men rather than praises of God. And all men shall fear and shall declare the work of God, for they shall wisely consider of his doing. And that's what the Lord's doing right now. This is the Lord's doing. It's marvelous in our eyes, but in the eyes of the wicked, it's something to be ignored, or it's not a big deal. You see, but in our eyes, it's marvelous. Psalm 69 and verse 22, let their table become a snare beat for them, and that which should have been for their welfare, let it become a trap. You see, so guys are talking about, oh yeah, judgment's gonna be getting in the house of Israel, but yeah, you guys are being judged. You guys are being brought down from your high seats. That's what's happening. So like I said, their own tongue is falling upon themselves, in that, yeah, they're prophesying about, and they're saying, oh yeah, judgment, and they're trying to like talk about this guy and that guy, but they're not seeing themselves in the mirror. See, when the thing is about judgment is that in order to be a righteous judge of the Lord, and Lord raise you up to judge righteously, right? Not man's judgment, but the Lord's judgment. You have to first look in the mirror and judge yourself, correct yourself. So that when you judge, you're not being a hypocrite. All right. Psalm 69 and verse 23. Let their eyes be darkened that they see not, and make their loins continually to shake. Pour out thine indignation upon them, and let thy wrathful anger take hold of them. Let their habitations be desolate, and let none dwell in their tents. For they persecute him whom thou hast smitten, and they talk to the grief of those whom thou hast wounded, and add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness. So they're not coming into Yahushua. They're not coming into the Spirit. You see? Their sins, their transgressions, what they're doing wrong is just being piled up. Let them be blotted out of the book of the living, and not be written with the righteous. But I am poor and sorrowful. Let the salvational power set me up on high. That's right. So we're not gonna be set up in high in this world, in this life, but in the spirit and in the kingdom to come, life everlasting. We're gonna be sitting on the table with the Lord, man, drinking wine, judging the 12 tribes of Israel, correcting them. You see, setting the record straight. Matter of fact, let me go to Isaiah. And the Lord said how the righteous speaketh judgment. Matter of fact, let me get that first, and then we're going to go to Isaiah. Psalms 37 and 30 says, the mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. Right, the righteous judgment. And not man's judgment, because that's what guys are doing. They're doing man's judgment. And what's man's judgment? They judge after the flesh, what they see on the outside, what they perceive on the outside. So it's not as man's judgment. John 7 and 24 says, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. And so you have to have Yahushua in you and dwelling in you and dealing with you in order for you to righteously judge your neighbor, because that's what the Lord said to do. Then you shall judge your neighbor. And this is true love. And this is true love, because this is all a test run before the final judgment, because everybody must appear before the judgment seat of the Lord to receive what they've done in the flesh. Were you using were you using this truth and misusing this word just to get carnal things, or were you using this word to get into the spirit? You know, to decrease, for yourself to decrease, but Yahushua increase. You know? Sirach 31 and 15. Judge not thy neighbor by thyself, and be discreet in every point. And what's heavy is that we're not by ourselves. The Lord is with us in the judgment. Because the Lord said, by one witness, he that is worthy to be put to death shall not be put to death, but by two or three. So the Lord, he's raising up the two witnesses, right? The small sanctuary, right? Only a few brothers, right? Some of us are alone right now. Some of us have one brother with us doing the work. That's how the Lord sent his men, by twos, not by 10s and 20s. So a lot of guys really aren't sent of the Lord. And it goes for all you camps, especially GMS at this point. GMS, you guys have gotten so proud and arrogant and wise in your own conceits. That's what's happened to them. So the Lord, he's with us. He's with us in the judgment. He's with us when we speak these things, because the Lord's speaking through us. He wants us to bring these things out so that men may repent. Second Thessalonians 1 and verse 5, which is a manifest token of the righteous judgment of God, that ye may be counted worthy of the kingdom of God, for which ye also suffer. Seeing it is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. You see, so the Lord, he's going to repay those that have troubled us. And going into Jacob's trouble is not just Esau coming down with great wrath and doing this and doing that. It's also our own people deceiving and leading our people away from Yahushai. See, that's a part of Jacob's trouble right now. And so when you go into Revelation, it talks about the 7 candlesticks, and one in the midst of them, like the Son of Man. Well, Yahushua is in the midst of the true church of God, the temple of the Lord, the men that truly believe and actually defend the gospel with their life. You see, so he's with us in the judgment, and what we're saying, and how we're dividing, we're severing ourselves and the other righteous few chosen out there away from these corrupted and infiltrated and compromised camps. All right, that's the point. And, it's heavy. I wanted to talk about this as well. I wanted to bring this out as well. About this whole new terminology of the Omicron variant. Basically, they're coming up against the unvaccinated. They're coming up against those that, aren't going to bend over and just do whatever man tells them to do. Really, it's all getting down to the world against the elect. The enemy shall come in like a flood, but the Lord, he said, touch none of my anointed, do my prophets no harm. So it's about to get serious out here. Now, the word Omicron means a small o. So it's something small, right? And an O is what is going into a ring, a circle, right? Circle of life. But this world, they put it as like a circle of death, a never-ending circle of death, you see. Zechariah 4:10, for who hath despised the day of small things, for they shall rejoice, and shall see the plumb in the hand of Zerubbabel, with those 7, you see, with the 7. They are the eyes of the Lord, which run to and fro through the whole earth. And guys, they despise small things, but everything that's powerful and strong begins small, begins weak. And that's the Lord has chosen, the weak things to confound the things that are mighty. 2 Ezra 5:42. And he said unto me, I will liken my judgment unto a ring. Like as there is no slackness of the last, even so there is no swiftness of the first. So the Lord is not slack as some men count slackness. You see, so the Lord, he's really about to start turning things up, as he already is. And with these corrupted false prophets and rulers of the Jews and so on and so forth, basically prophesying their own downfall, but talking about other people that are not significant at all, that's a heavy sign as well. You got elders falling asleep on camera. These are all signs, man, to not disregard, and not take lightly or small. These are huge, man. Malachi 3:5. Slack you. It says, and I will come near to you to judgment. You see? So he's near us. The Lord is nigh, even in thy mouth. So Lord, he's very close to us, and we're very close to the Lord. And I'll be a swift witness against the sorcerers, you see, and against the adulterers, and against false swearers, and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, saith the Lord of hosts. Right? So, you have certain elders be like, oh, you guys don't fear the Lord, don't fear the Lord. They don't fear the Lord. They don't fear Yahushua. They fear their elders and their camp heads and men. And that's what they teach. Their precepts is taught by the fear of men. That's what it's all coming down to, man. Because if you fear the Lord, then guess what you would be doing? You would be exposing the wickedness. You would be rebuking our people sharply, man. That they may be sound in the faith. But because guys ain't rebuking, it's because why? They're not sound themselves. But what do they rebuke? They'll do videos on rebuking Fopi and Rap the News and Nicki Minaj and Tom Brady, is he an Israelite? And it's just like, bro, that shit don't matter, bro. That's vain repetitions of men. The main thing you have to be bringing out and talking about and putting light upon is Yahushai. And if a tree has been dressed or not. If brothers have the fruits of the Spirit or not, either yes or no. Not what camp you're in. Your camp isn't going to get you saved, man. We're at the end of the day. Matthew 3:9. And think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. For I say unto you that God is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. And now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees. Therefore, every tree which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. You see that? So guys are being hewn down in the spirit, and they're gonna be thrown into that fire, man. The second death. Weeping and gnashing of teeth. They're gonna have their judgment with the mockers and scoffers. Because it was mocking and scoffing against the real few prophets that's left. Like the brother brought that precept in Isaiah, as a blessing is in a small cluster, and the Lord said, destroy it not. That's what the Lord's going to do for his true servants. Luke 12:47. And that servant which knew his Lord's will, and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. So guys, they know the Lord, what the Lord wants of them, but they didn't prepare themselves. The scripture talk about prepare thyself to meet thy maker, you know. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom much men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. So if you have a lot, you have to give a lot. And guys act like they say, oh, we have the 100% truth. But then they're not giving you everything that you need. They're not giving you all your armor. They're not giving you all your weaponry and all the understanding of Yahushua and what Yahushua's will and his mind is. They're not giving you all that. So what they're doing is all in vain and half-hearted. That's how they're moving. First Peter 2 and verse 8. Matter of fact, 7. It says, unto you, therefore, which believe he is precious. You see? But unto them which be disobedient, you see, they're not obeying the gospel. They're not teaching the good news because they're not good. See, out of the man's heart proceedeth what they really are. So the gospel's not coming out of their mouth because they don't have a good heart towards the Lord. And it's heavy, man. It's really heavy. Because guys don't talk about Matthew 23. They don't bring it out in depth. And when they do, it's like, it's not even right. They're like taking it out of context. They don't understand what they're saying. It's really heavy, man. It's really heavy. The deceive and the deceiver are the Lord's. The stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner. And a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient. There's a word again, disobedient. And the Lord said that disobedient is as a sin of witchcraft. You see? So that's what guys have. They have a spirit of witchcraft on them. It says, whereunto also they were appointed. So they were appointed for this. The end, at the time appointed, at the end it shall speak and not lie. So this is not a lie. This is all true. What the Lord is bringing out right now by the few brothers that's actually in a fiery, judgmental spirit, a real raw spirit, not sparing none, not being emotional, not taking bribes, not having respect to persons. Galatians 3:1. O foolish Galatians, who hath bewitched you, that ye should not obey the truth, before whose eyes Yahushua Mashiach have been evidently set forth, crucified among you. You see that? So guys are being bewitched. Let me get this word for bewitched. Who hath bewitched you? You ain't obeying the truth. You're obeying men. You're following men. You're being servants of men that are in the flesh. They're not in the spirit. They're on the mind of the Lord. They're in the mind of a goat, being great. They exalt themselves. They exalt them camps, and they don't exalt Yahushua. That's what it's all coming down to. They're just using the word. Just like they always show you like this certain storyline in the movies, but like a guy will just use a girl or a girl will just use a guy, in the end they'll be all sorry for it. That's how you guys are. You're just using the Lord, And this word bewitched is to speak ill of one. And that's what they're doing. They're speaking ill on Yahushua and his little ones. that are in his spirit, that are in his mind, saying this, having the same thoughts and saying the same things as him. To slander, to bring evil on one by feigning praise or an evil eye. Right, so they have a fake praise. Guys, all praise to Yahweh Shema. What they're doing, they should really, like the brother said, they should be saying, hey, all praise to the mark of the beast. All praises to E. All praises to Maxine. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're giving their praise to. All praises to men. Just say all praises to elders. All praises to my head chief elder apostle. All praises to them. That's what guys are doing. See, what were the disciples doing? The disciples were actually worshiping Yahweh Shai, honoring their head. Had their head on straight, unlike you all, unlike a lot of you guys, man. Galatians 3:2 says, this only would I learn of you, receive ye the Spirit by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith. So it's not by works, it's by hearing, listening to those that have faith and have the Spirit. That's how you receive the Spirit. It says, are ye so foolish, having begun in the Spirit, are ye now made perfect by the flesh? You see that? So guys are being very foolish, man. There's a lot of foolish virgins falling asleep, not dealing with reality and what's really going on. 2 Thessalonians 1:8 says, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not power and that obey not the gospel of our Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. You see that? So that's what's coming. Vengeance, flaming fire. That's what's coming to those that obey the gospel. And when you obey the gospel, what do? You serve Yahweh Shai with fear and trembling. You don't serve men. And you're not afraid of men kicking you out of camps because we've been doing videos on it. They kicked out certain elders because they were what? They were teaching Yahweh Shai. They said, listen, I'm not going to call no man king. Yahweh Shai is a king. I'm going to teach Yahweh Shai. But they don't like that. You see? It's heavy, man. Hebrews 5:9, and being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all them that obey him. You see? So, it's all about obeying the Lord. You know? And that's going to get a lot of people offended and, like, upset because the man and these, like, mob boss, like, camp heads, they want you to obey them. You know? So when you show that you're not going to obey them and listen and bow down to them and worship them, then they feel some kind of way, you know. They get offended because everybody else, the multitudes, is doing it, but then you're not, so they get really offended at you. They speak evil of you, you see. They speak evil of us. Hebrews 11:8, by faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out not knowing whither he went. So we don't know where we're going. You know, we don't know what tomorrow may bring, but we're walking by faith. And that's the only way possible that you can please the Lord. Any way else, you can't please the Lord if you have, seen a man and you can see it to believe it. We don't have to see it to believe it, man. Because it's in us. We believe it because the Lord's in us. Psalms 37:27 says, depart from evil and do good and dwell forevermore. For Yahweh loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. So they're being cut off. Like we read earlier in Matthew 3, the axe is laid to every tree. You see? Psalm 99 and verse 3 says, let them praise thy great and terrible name, for it is holy. But guys, they want you to praise them, but they're not holy. They're unholy. They haven't been separated from this world. They're a part of this world. It says, the king's strength also loveth judgment. Thou dost establish equity. Thou executest judgment and righteousness in Jacob. You see that? So that's what's being established in the gate. And they hate those that rebuke in the gate. They hate those that are actually crying out and letting it be known what's wrong from right. Luke 22 and verse 28, ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations, and I appoint unto you a kingdom, as my Father had appointed unto me, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So the kingdom of heaven is within you. That's why the Lord said they're not going to say lo here, lo there, for it's in you. So by the kingdom of heaven being in us, guess what's happening? We're able to judge correctly, man. You know, That's why the Lord said, let those that are lowest esteem the church judge, because they're not gonna pervert judgment. You know, they're gonna say how it is. Just like when you might come across a little child and he just says the truth, just outright, out front. Someone that's an adult, they might try to sugarcoat it or lie about it. Oh no, you don't smell. You're fine. But a little kid's like, man, you smell, man. You need a shower. That's how the little ones and the real judges are. The Lord's raising up right now. He's raising them up as a first. Isaiah 1:26. 1 Corinthians 2:15. But he that is spiritually judgeth all things, yet he himself is judge of no man. So guys are not spiritual, they're carnal, so they're actually being judged. It says, for who hath known the mind of the Lord, for that he may instruct him, but we have the mind of Yahushua. So what we're saying, what we're thinking is agreeable with the Lord. It's what the Lord is actually thinking as well. And we're just bringing it out. You see? So it's very important to understand the judgment of the Lord, so you can know what side to be on and to separate from the famous and the greatly exalted and the ones that everyone loves. You know, and our people waking up, man. The few out there is realizing, man, that the real prophets, the real men of the Lord, the real, you know what I'm saying, disciples, they weren't loved. They weren't double honored, man. They were hated. They were cast out. You know, the men were seeking after their life, so it had to be hid. All praises, glory, honor, and fear, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Rakak Wadash, Abba Abal, hey, Shalom.